What's the personality type of Anya Taylor-Joy? In today's video, let's try and figure that out.
I approach acting from a place of empathy because I find it easier to love and care about other people than necessarily put myself in that situation. I try and eradicate myself and fully form another individual.
So here, notice how she said it's easier for her to connect through empathizing. It's more natural for her to think about and care about another person outside of herself, as opposed to imagining herself personally in that situation, how that situation would make her feel. The fact that she likes relating, her emotional side gets more stirred up, thinking about other people as opposed to thinking about her own individual personal feelings. That is a huge clue.
Siempre estoy escribiendo, entonces siempre tengo un cuaderno de, no sé, de donde estuve en el mundo, y siempre escribo algo acá atrás. Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Pero también hago muchas listas. No siempre hago todas las cosas en las listas, pero escribo una lista. Fotos. Siempre viajo, bueno, ahora tengo bastantes, pero siempre viajo con estas fotos porque, no sé, me recuerda de los momentos y me siento un poquitito menos sola.
If you think about it, it's really a specific type of person that would really value these types of activities, journaling, writing things out, taking the extra time to list out where they were in the world, where they were traveling, what they were doing. Also, the photos. They remind me of those times and I feel a little bit less alone. This practice of thinking back on things to ground herself, actually carrying around these physical mementos, these reminders of where she's come from or what has happened before.
There's something about having a natural mineral from the earth with you that just allows you to reconnect and understand that you're actually a really tiny part of the universe, and whatever's going on in your life is more than likely going to be okay. I actually always travel with this. Palo Santo is something that I love. Again, I'm always traveling around. I never really get the chance to be at home, and this is my home smell. So any hotel room I'm in, this is burning.
Interesting. Do you also notice how when she makes connections, it's often quite clear, like a very direct connection? This makes me think about this. This represents this to me. This reminds me of this. These are fingerprints of specific personality patterns.
You know me, Josh. I am not an organized. I am a very messy, all over the place person everywhere apart from set. And on set, I have to be, and I find it deeply satisfying to be in charge of my continuity, to know exactly where I'm at in the story, to know everybody else's continuity, to know the shot that just happened, so I know exactly the level of flush I need to have to enter into the scene. Like, that's the stuff that really gets my brain going. And
okay, so in her individual personal life, she has this messy, all over the place side that's very real. But when it comes to her work, her responsibilities, she has this much more task-oriented, structured, planned out side that likes to manage things and control things, know all the little specifics and details. To me, that sounds a little bit like an EJ personality type. EJ personality types, when it comes to their work, their responsibilities, interacting with outside groups and systems and structures, big picture moving pieces and parts, they are often very on task. They have this knack for organizing things, managing things, executing on things. But when it comes to their personal, private life, they can be a lot more all over the place. They have this surprise, much more flexible, spontaneous, sometimes even impulsive side that's also very real underneath the surface.
I wish I could say that I had a grand master plan for what I was going to do with my career. I do not know where I see myself next week, but I hope I'm happy. I hope I'm happy in 5 years' time.
I don't know where I see myself next week. That's a pretty strong statement. There's certain personality types that naturally think ahead a lot, that love thinking all the time about where they see things going, their future path, the trajectory of things. And those personality types always have quite a bit of clarity and conviction and vision for where they want to be headed, things that they want to experience and actualize, influence, and impact, like way down the line. Anya doesn't really seem like that type of person. When she talked about the future, it was actually very open and undefined. Another interesting clue about her personality type.
Well, you clearly love your dog very much, and it's like it's a symbol of you losing something or having to protect the things that you love and the things that make you feel safe.
Every step that she takes on land is like being cut by 1,000 knives, and that's how much she loves him.
After watching hours and hours of how Anya likes to express herself, explain her ideas, connect ideas, piece things together, I started seeing more and more hints for a personality superpower called introverted sensing. Introverted sensing is a specific way of bringing things together and connecting the dots that really likes going back over things to make things a little bit more clear, anchored, and grounded. Personality types that use introverted sensing all the time tend to not like dwelling too much on patterns and connections that are overly mysterious, speculative, undefined, and vague. Instead, they like focusing on real things they've experienced before or seen before to dig up new meanings and connections and patterns that are a lot more clear, specific, and defined. Oh, these photos are reminding me of this. This smell is connected to this, making me think about this.
Again, one of the things that I thought was most interesting is so it's more about a really brilliant person who struggles with herself and overcomes that internal struggle.
The first day that I stepped onto the set of The Witch was the first day I ever really felt like I belonged.
I saw these specific grounding and anchoring patterns show up over and over again watching Anya, to an extent where I think there's a pretty strong case for her being an introverted sensor.
So in this
But I do want to clarify, so in America, people find it very hard to say my name. It's Anya.
Anya.
Yeah, I'd say like aneurysm. I'm trying to find a nicer
Aneurysm.
word. I've been so anxious about correcting people, and eventually I'm like, that's not my name.
Yes, I'm not going to respond to you unless I'm
Anya. Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
The next major thing I noticed watching Anya is she is very, very socially aware, like almost on high alert all the time.
So, I don't know if I want to be joined to the shoe. I don't.
You gotta try it at least once.
I'll try it once. I know I will.
To be fair, I did just buy a Tigger onesie, and it's the greatest thing of all time.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We'll talk fashion while you're over there. Fashion.
Yeah, let's talk fashion
in all
with
seriousness,
Ben
though.
Schwartz. Go on, do it.
Okay, please.
What is it? Well, yeah, let's talk about Air Jordans and hoodies. Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about that. You get your threes, you get your black cement threes on.
Do you see her looking around and keeping close track of the people dynamics going on around her? Do you see how she's making all these adjustments, even to how much she laughs, to make sure that she fits in with the social context going on around her?
Some more photos of you. True story.
Oh, God.
Look, this is you with some further. Here you are with some ducks. Look. I'm going to see it tomorrow night.
You're going to see it
And
tomorrow
I
night?
am so excited to watch it. I was in at the trailer.
I told you that. I did text you. But I completely loved it.
Do you see how Anya's emotional, expressive side is performed for other people? Even when she's being surprised or embarrassed, she tries to control how she presents herself, how she expresses herself. It's tricky because for her, this is her personal self-expression. She is being sincere, but at the same time, do you see how Anya's way of expressing what she's feeling, prioritizing things in a social situation is super different from the raw, unfiltered, personal self-expression, inner feelings just like bubbling up, splashing out all over the place that we saw in the Timothy Chalamet video and Tom Hiddleston video.
Anya, this is the first time you've been on this show, so you do not know that we end in song.
Oh my goodness.
So there's something, well, you sing all the time. You sing in
Okay, but
Emma.
what are we gonna say?
I don't know
Look at
what
her
we're going to
face.
do. I think it's up to you to give me a little bit. It doesn't have to be a start to finish anything, but a song that's in your heart.
Ooh, okay. You have no tips? You have no nothing?
No, because that would be wrong. I would be leading you. That would be horrible in a director.
Do you see her facial expression as she's adjusting to what's being asked of her? Watching Anya, when you see the way she adjusts, the way she expresses herself, the way she scans the social situations going on around her, there are undeniable, super strong signals for a personality superpower called extroverted feeling. Extrovert feeling is a specific way of prioritizing things and managing things. It's very emotional and also very social, socially conscious. All the FJ personality types that use extrovert feeling all the time are really good at keeping track of people dynamics, social norms and expectations, how we all emotionally and socially affect each other. And what makes extrovert feeling a personality superpower is all that stuff that they're taking in, that they're keeping track of, they are really, really good at managing all of that, understanding all of that, and knowing what adjustments can be made to balance things out, affect the group harmony, the social dynamics going on around them.
All of my young adult life, trying to fit into boxes that would make other people comfortable. I was raised to be almost unbearingly polite, and I am consistently aware of everybody else around me and how I can make their experience better, or just how I can facilitate things for other people.
For these personality types, their emotional side actually pops up for other people. It's actually externally motivated. That's why extroverted feeling is called extroverted feeling. Something you'll notice in your everyday practical life is that strong extroverted feelers, so all the FJ personality types, and especially the EFJ personality types, they're always thinking about people. It's almost like they can't help it, where they're coming from, what their needs and expectations might be, and they're really good at managing that, fitting in with that, always trying to be conscious and conscientious of all of that.
From the moment I did my first film, I haven't really taken longer than like 2 weeks off.
Oh my God.
Since.
Have you been able to process everything that's happened in your life in the past sort of 2 years?
No.
Really?
Really no. I mean, my reaction has been to just keep working because
Sure.
then I don't really have to think about it as much.
Interesting.
There are random moments where I'm just like, I need a break. And then I'm just like, Anya, you're doing everything you've ever wanted to do. Just get an extra night's sleep and wake up and keep going.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something that's not uncommon with Anya's personality type is they can have very strong workaholic tendencies. They're so good at managing things, collaborating with things. They're so externally motivated that sometimes they can just fill their schedule up with a lot of doing, and not nearly enough taking care of themselves. Not nearly enough slowing things down a little bit. Oh my gosh, I have to do this. People expect this from me. This is my duty. This is my responsibility. I can't stop. The way Anya's personality type can break out of this cycle that often causes a lot of anxiety, can often be super overwhelming, is by using more of her introverted sensing personality superpower that we talked about earlier. Remember, introverted sensing is all about making things more clear, grounded, and anchored. But something I didn't mention earlier is that introverted sensing always takes some slowing things down. Think about it. It takes slowing things down to reflect, to journal, to think back on things, to introspect a little bit, to think about where you've come from, your roots, your experiences, your identity, things from your past that have shaped who you are today and what really matters, what you really care about. If you're an ESJ personality type and you're feeling really anxious, very overwhelmed with all the things you feel you have to do, don't forget, in order to keep going, you're gonna need to make sure you're okay up here. You are actually grounded and anchored, coming from a good place.
I think the first thing that struck me was her inherent loneliness. That's something that I've just had forever. Like since I was a kid, I've just always felt so other. And, I used to tell my mom when I was little, I'd just say, I feel like I'm separated from people by like a sheet of glass.
Yeah. Anya, an extroverted feeler, talking about being really lonely growing up, always feeling like an outsider growing up, brings up a very important point. I think a lot of times we can see these extroverted friends in our lives and see how social they are, how friendly they are, how much they love bringing people together, how many different people know them, how they're always the mom or the dad of the group, that sometimes we completely forget that underneath the surface, there's still an individual there that gets lonely sometimes, that also wants to be deeply seen, appreciated, and understood as an individual, just like all the rest of us. Personally, I found when I ask my extrovert feeling friends, hey, like, how are you doing? What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? No, you as an individual, are you okay? Like, what have you been thinking about? What have you been feeling? It's always a little sad to me how not used to hearing those questions my extroverted feeling friends are. How they're really not used to being seen as an individual, completely separate from their work, from their roles. I've read your guys' comments and talked with many of you guys in the Discord server, and I've gotta say, the community here, you guys here watching, are some of the most wholesome, kind, and positive people I've ever met in MBTI land. And so together, maybe this week, let's try working on this. What can we do? What can we say to appreciate and remember and care for the extroverted feelers in our lives a little bit more? From the personality patterns I saw pop up over and over again in today's video, strong extroverted feeling with some introverted sensing and extroverted intuition, as well as some introverted thinking, the fingerprint match that makes the most sense to me is that Anya Taylor-Joy is an ESFJ personality type. If you guys want to see some extra clips, extra analysis and research that I had to cut out of today's video, there's an extended bonus video waiting for you right now on the Patreon, link down below in the description. You are the change maker of your own life. Let's think more deeply. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace. Bye.